Hey everyone, how's it going? So I wanted to give here my thoughts on Battlefield 5, the beta, and I've been playing it now for the past 2 days. I was given early access even though I didn't pre-order the game, and I'm not an EA Access Origin member, thanks to Intel. Intel actually sent me a code and said, hey, you can play the Battlefield 5 beta early, so I was pretty happy about that. And I was really looking forward to this beta, man. You know, Battlefield has been always a series for me that has kept my interest in multiplayer games for years to come. And I still, it's funny because I just about a month and a half ago, I returned to Battlefield 1 and I still had a blast playing that game. And so obviously I was really looking forward here to Battlefield 5 and just getting a new Battlefield game in general. I was like, yes, a new multiplayer Battlefield game. It's going to have a lot of fun here. It's gonna hold me over until here during the winter time and the holidays and whatnot, and it's just gonna be awesome. And I got into this beta and I've been playing it for the past 2 days, and well, here are my thoughts. So I want to start off by saying that, I was really surprised with the amount of fun that I had in Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1, with it being World War I, was sort of like a scratch my head moment. I didn't really understand why DICE wanted to go in that direction, but I actually applaud them for, doing something that we haven't really seen before in video games. Most people just focus on World War II. And so I was really, happy with the way that Battlefield 1 turned out. Was really, I really had a lot of fun in that game. When Battlefield 5 was announced, like many of you, I was a little bit jarred by the weird marketing and trailer showcasing these just different elements of the game. And how many different customizable characters that you had. I mean, that today, still today, you can watch that trailer and it just, you think it's like a parody or something. It's amazing that was their debut trailer for this game. But regardless, for me, I can ignore all that stuff, all the political correctness bullshit, that everyone's all up in arms about. I can ignore that stuff, and for me, I play Battlefield because of the amazing gameplay, and all that stuff is just sort of like, oh, customize your character, you can do this, you can do that. You can ignore all that stuff and just play the multiplayer the way that you normally play it. And that was really what my intention was regarding this game here. So I did play this game at EA Play, and I did have fun with it from what I can remember. But now that I've had a lot more time with the game to sort of mess around with at my own home personal setup, I want to actually do a video here and give you guys my thoughts. So Battlefield 5 is a very mixed bag for me. There are some things in here that, I like, and then there are also many things that I don't like. And for really the first time, from what I can remember when it comes to a Battlefield game, I'm very conflicted on whether or not this is the type of game for me, or whether this is a game that was made for a different audience, and whether or not DICE is really the same group of passionate developers that I always thought they were. It's just... There's a lot of things here that I'm sort of concerned about. So I want to talk about, first of all, the things that I do like. The presentation here is gorgeous. This game has, but DICE has always done a great job in terms of the graphics department. They've always found a way to continue to push the envelope in terms of detail, and it's just impressive to me that, I look at Battlefield 1 and that's an amazing looking game, and then I look at this game and somehow there's parts of it where it looks even more amazing. It always amazes me how well DICE really puts together in terms of the graphical presentation of their games, and the fact that they run and they look so good and they run so well is just a testament to their scalable hardware and passion when it comes to this. And yeah, Battlefield 5 here is just gorgeous. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the art style. It's a lot more of a brighter Battlefield. It's a lot more colorful, more vibrant. And for me personally, I like that style. I like bright, vivid colors, and something that's very beautiful and stylized versus something that's very nitty-gritty, dark, and just dirty. And I feel like whenever someone depicts World War II, it's always that type of art style. It's very gray. It's very muddy. And that's sort of like the style that we associate with World War II, is just that color gray. Everything's gray and dark. And DICE here has a very different take, where a lot of it is colorful and bright, and you have these fantastic locations which are just beautiful vistas, and it's great, actually. I do enjoy the visual style of this game. At times, though, I feel like the game's way too detailed for its own good, meaning that it's detailed to the point, and this is especially prominent here on this Rotterdam map where it takes place in the day. This map is very, very, very difficult to actually see people because there's a lot of areas in this game which have very bright highlights and very dark black levels. And so as a result of this harsh contrast, it's basically very hard to see people in corners. And I ended up dying a lot in the beginning with just, people who I just couldn't see. And still to this day, I die and I can't see these people. And it's sort of frustrating because the game's kill cam is terrible at this point. All the game does is it has like this little fuzzy red hover over the guy's silhouette of the character, but it doesn't even zoom the camera in. So sometimes he can be like miles away and it doesn't show anything on screen. So I mean, I'm sure that's something that they're gonna have to work out before launch here. But so I really do like the graphical art style. I do like the customization aspect of it. However, it's very pointless, and that's very odd for a Battlefield game. The customization here, basically you can customize your weapons however you want. You can buy different, colored scopes on here. You could add different types of muzzles to your gun, and we've had these previously in Battlefield before, but they've always been tied to a certain gameplay aspect. Oh, it increases the accuracy of your weapon. It increases the range of your weapon. It reduces muzzle flash, but makes your weapon less powerful. There's always been some sort of trade-off, or it's been something tied to the progression of that weapon. And in this Battlefield game, you have upgrades that do nothing but make your weapon better, and then you have cosmetic customization options, which basically do nothing but make your weapon look cool. And so it's like really two of like the worst things here, because I mean, while the cosmetic options are cool, they're pointless entirely. And while the upgrades are a good idea, they're only upgrades. They're not actually filtered out, so it says, oh, you want better range on your weapon? Okay, well, you're going to have to sacrifice rate of fire. Or you want rate of fire on your weapon to be increased? Well, you have to sacrifice damage. And there's not anything like that. It's just like, oh, what do you want to do? You want to increase the rate of fire? Go for it. You want to increase the accuracy? Go for it. You want to increase the range? Go for it. And there's no sort of, backside. There's no bad thing to actually doing any of those upgrades. It's just you make your weapon better. And it's very odd to see that from a Battlefield game. It feels like a Call of Duty game in that respect. In fact, this whole game feels like a hybrid of people who are trying to make it more easily accessible, like the Call of Duty audience, but also wanted to retain an element of Battlefield to it. And in the end here, I think they just strayed way too far, from what their original intention was. And this game is probably the least Battlefield game that I've ever played. And I played a lot of Battlefield games, And this is the one where I feel the least confident of why it should be called a Battlefield game. It's just very, 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 very odd. So, I mean, on top of that, you also have a new animation system. And this animation system looks great on paper. I do overall like the enhancements made to it. But the problem is that there's something off with the movement. And I've always said this when I was playing the game here, and you'll see it when I upload my gameplay videos. I'll be talking about, hey, there's something wrong with the movement, and there is. Your character doesn't move with the type of finesse or agility that you previously had in the other Battlefield games. In the other Battlefield games, you were quick. You could feel like, you wouldn't get stuck on the environment. Your character really, really was just grounded in the world that they were in, and movement was slick, it was smooth, and it felt great in the previous Battlefield games. I feel like the movement here is just jointed. It's very odd, and I don't nearly feel as quick, as capable, or as able to traverse the environment as I did with previous Battlefield games. And that's so odd to me, because you have developers here who have made fantastic games and with very smooth animation systems. Again, these are the guys behind the Mirror's Edge series. And, it's amazing how that game moves and responds. And then you have games like Star Wars Battlefront, which, again, were just great, smooth games. And for some reason, this one it's very jerky at times. You just don't. I feel like your character gets stuck on way too many objects. When you vault over items, previously you used to be able to carry your momentum, and so you vaulted over items and you would move at the same speed. In this game, it's like when you vault over an item, it actually hinders you. It makes you slower than you were previously going. And I know that's probably a tactical decision that they decided to do when it came to development to change it up, but I just don't think it's for the better here. I don't feel as capable as I did with the previous Battlefield games. I think the best way to describe it would be how I did in my previous video, where I basically said that I feel like all my weapons, my assault rifle, my pistol, my grenades, my equipment, whatever stuff I have equipped in my inventory, I feel like all that stuff is weighing me down. And what we have here is a weighted system that's just, holding you back from really moving the way that you should, and it's still, to this day, I'm still not completely used to it, but I just feel like there needs to be a lot of work here in terms of the animation system and the way that your character moves, because it does not feel like Battlefield to me. It does not have the same smoothness. It does not have the same you do not have the same agility. You do not have the same responsiveness as you did with the previous Battlefield games. Everything just sort of feels like slow. And you can just it's kind of very frustrating at times, because you feel like you should be able to do things that you can't do for some reason. So the other thing I also want to talk about here is just the changes here to the overall gunplay and everything like that. Now kill time here has been increased, and I don't like it at all. It takes longer to kill people, and then I also feel like headshot damage has been increased. So whenever someone shoots at you, which happens a lot, of course, in a multiplayer game, you always seem to die quick when it comes to someone who's a really accurate shot and able to get headshots. There are one-hit kill weapons. And the thing that's funny here is that the maps here are really poorly designed from what I can see. I love the way that, the maps look, especially here in Rotterdam. The lighting here is just one of the best I've ever seen on a Battlefield map. It's a gorgeous map to look at, but this is a sniper's haven, honestly. This type of map right here, snipers love this map. It's open, there's not a lot of tight spaces, and the other map as well, which I think is called Norvik or whatever, the one in the snow, is again a very open map with tons of sniper points. I think it's a little bit better developed though in terms of infantry combat, but this is the map here I had a really difficult time actually doing infantry in, and I actually had to switch to this bolt action rifle here in order to actually do some damage and put a scope on it, because of how medium to long range the combat was in this particular map. And it's just something that I really feel I really felt like the Battlefield maps were very balanced overall, and I'm playing this map here and I'm just like, I just don't like it. There's something about it here that's just not developed right. Again, very pretty to look at, but it doesn't really help you at all in the gameplay aspect of things. So on the other hand here, grenades as well seem less effective. It actually takes you longer to throw them because of the new animation system. Quite honestly, your character now has to reach for the grenade instead of it just kind of being in his hand. So when you push the button, there's like a 1 or 2 second delay as the character reaches into his pocket, grabs the grenade, and then throws it. So again, this kind of speaks to the agility matter of things in that you had in the previous Battlefield games. In Battlefield 1, you just pushed a button, he just threw the grenade, and again, it just had to do with the fast-pacedness of that game. This game's a lot slower, and so you have to plan out your grenade throws. You can't just kind of Hail Mary something because of the time it takes to actually throw the grenade. It's a lot longer than usual, so part of that is is just being a little bit more tactical with your decision and whatnot. So yeah, another thing that annoys me here is that when you're trying to upgrade your weapons, previously you'd be able to just kind of mess with the attachments and you can purchase upgrades directly from the in-game menu. You can't do that anymore. Now you actually have to quit the game. You have to go to a separate menu within the main menu to actually buy and unlock upgrades, and when you do that, you can actually put them on your weapon from that menu. But let's say you unlock an attachment for a weapon, or you unlock an upgrade for a weapon in the middle of a match here. There's no way of actually testing out that upgrade or that attachment without you first unlocking it in that separate menu. And so that requires you to actually quit the game that you're playing and then have to go into the menu and have to rejoin another game. So I don't know why, and previously that was never an issue in Battlefield. You could always do everything from the in-game menu. Whenever you unlocked a new weapon, it would just be available there to actually test out. In this game, you have to actually buy the weapon first, and then you have to go ahead and make sure it's in your inventory, and then select it when you're in the full match. But you make that purchase from that separate game menu, so it's a little bit, it just feels a little bit more limiting in that aspect. I think in the end here, what I'm feeling here is that there's different people that are now working at DICE, and maybe this is just a sad part of realizing that DICE is not the same company that I really thought they were from the previous games. I remember of how great and how much I love Battlefield Bad Company 2. I remember how innovative Battlefield 3 was for the time, how amazing Battlefield 4 was to play, and even Battlefield 1 was surprising in terms of its direction. DICE handled that very well. And I'm reminded when I play these old DICE games of how great that studio was. And then I look today and I see games like Star Wars Battlefront 2, Battlefield 5, like here, and Mirror's Edge Catalyst, and I'm just like what the hell happened? Is this the fault of EA, or is this the fault of new direction at DICE? With that's just not making good decisions, quite frankly. I don't know, and this is very sad to me, because I've said before in previous videos, I feel like DICE is like the Naughty Dog that just doesn't have a studio that cares about them. I feel like EA is holding it back with their thumb pressed so hard, so firmly on their ass, that they can't possibly make a move at all or do anything innovative. You have to make a new Battlefield game every 2 years, and anything that they want to do that's creative, it's like they're giving a limited budget on, a la Mirror's Edge Catalyst. And then they're working on big franchises and they have to push them out the door, so they release buggied and half-assed, a la Star Wars Battlefront 2. And now with Battlefield 5 here, I feel like, the game's supposed to be launching in November. I can tell you right now that playing the beta here does not give me the confidence that this will be a quality game whatsoever. If this game was launching in March, I would be a lot better in terms of, okay, it's very early, there's all these issues, I understand that, but they have all this time to actually fix it. With the game launching in 2 months, and I don't know how old this beta code is, it could be that this is from March of 2018 and they just haven't updated it, but if so, this is not the presentation that you want to have people play and test out when they download your beta. Because this is probably the least polished Battlefield beta I've ever played, to be quite honest with you. It runs well, it's still optimized, but there's so many glitches, there's so many changes here that are just not Battlefield in my opinion. And there's a lot of things here that have the potential to ruin the franchise completely for a lot of long-term people like myself, and that sucks. Quite frankly, I was really looking forward to this game. Like I said, Battlefield's like the only series that has kept me really super invested in multiplayer games. And I can't believe I'm about to say this. I really can't. But I think I had more fun playing Black Ops 4's lazy beta than I had more fun playing the Battlefield 5 beta here. And that's amazing to me, that all Black Ops 4 was basically a Black Ops 3 reskin without the double jump and without the wall running. It was like the same thing, but I had more fun playing that beta than I am having fun playing the Battlefield 5 beta. And it has nothing to do with the political correctness bullshit. That has to do with the changes to gameplay here, which just quite frankly I don't think is really that great at all. So, I just wanted to go ahead and make this video here, and really I just want to gauge your guys' thoughts. Do you agree with this situation? I think the biggest thing here that I could possibly say is that I really wanted to like Battlefield 5, and I was really looking forward to this beta. And even though I wasn't totally on board with World War II, and I wish that they went with Battlefield Vietnam, and I wish that they actually made another Battlefield Modern Combat, game. Not Battlefield 2 Modern Combat. I just talk about like Battlefield, like an actual modern, day combat, like Battlefield 4. So I just really wish that they made, like, you know, one of those types of games instead of World War II here. You know, I just don't particularly find we've had World War II for Call of Duty, you know, this past year, and Battlefield 1 was semi World War II-ish. Even though it was World War 1, there are still parts of that game that made it feel very similar here with their direction for World War II. And so I just don't know. You know, I really just don't know at this point. I can tell you that I'm disappointed by what I'm playing right now. I'm hoping that, you know, really by the time when this game comes out, that, you know, DICE can really deliver here on a quality product. Because if this is going to be, you know, any evidence of the type of experience that I'm going to be getting when I get the game myself, and I still want to get the game because I want to love this game. Like I told you guys, I really want another great Battlefield Online experience, but I just don't know if this is going to be that game to deliver. And judging by the fact that this game has 85% less pre-orders than Call of Duty Black Ops 4, I mean, damn. You know this game's going to be super cheap. It's probably going to drop to $40. I bet you in a month, by Christmas time, it'll be $40, and that will be the base price of it. Because I've asked other people, and I've seen other videos and other impressions videos of this game, and a lot of people are spreading the same concerns that I have. A lot of people are very disjointed with the changes here. And, you know, I'm usually one of those people who can just ignore it and just look to have fun with the game. But there's just there's too many issues here, and too many concerns that I have that are hindering me from actually enjoying it the way that I thought I was going to. And so yeah, that's my impressions on Battlefield 5, the beta here. I am having fun, but it's like with an asterisk. I'm having fun because there are these great moments in between where everything just works out the way that it should. But then I'm reminded of all these terrible changes to like the gameplay that I just don't think are inherently Battlefield whatsoever. A lot of these changes look like, you know, they're made by different people at the company who are trying to turn Battlefield into something else, and just have no concern for actually making here a quality Battlefield experience that builds on the foundation of the series rather than trying something entirely differently new. And for long-term Battlefield people like myself, I have a feeling that it's going to be a very interesting launch when this game releases. I don't know how many people are going to be totally invested in it, but I guess we'll find out. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video, and yeah, looking forward to it. Have a good one.